Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Is Cathy Engelbert in her final days as commissioner of the WNBA? Let's chat about it. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out, of course, to the 19. Now, this has been something that we have talked about. I can't even think about how many times, but all the way back in 2024, I'm on video, so I'm not going to sit here and deny it, that I said multiple times about Cathy Engelbert being fired, that they should force her to step down because of some of the things she said and did and how she handled Caitlin Clark coming into the WNBA and the disruption that that caused everywhere and anywhere. Whoops, almost knocked the camera over. But that being said, there are also some other important things that we need to know. You know, I mean, there's the Nafisa Collier stuff, who all the nasty things she said, speaking out of turn, talking about private conversations that she had with Cathy, when of course she was the ops, both as a player for a CBA and also an owner of a competitor league. But anyway, let's get into this because this is Adam Silver. You know, this is where you start reading between the lines, saying not exactly giving a ringing endorsement to the future of Cathy Engelbert as the WNBA commissioner. Says no discussion yet on Cathy Engelbert's WNBA future. And I have a clip here for you that we'll listen to. It says Engelbert looks poised to lead the league for its 30th season, but questions remain whether she will continue beyond that. WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert was on site at the NBA's Board of Governors meeting Wednesday, beaming about the deal reached between the league and its players on a groundbreaking new collective bargaining agreement. All right, we're back. Had to pause for a second. I got booted out of my front office sports account for some reason. They have stories that you cannot read unless you're logged in. This was one of them. Anyway, in the nearly 17 months it took for both sides to come to terms on the new CBA, Engelbert's future as a league's leader was challenged. Of course it's going to be challenged by the players. Come on, man. As the WNBA prepares for its 30th season, the question remains as to whether Engelbert will continue after this one. By the way, that is one of those things that, I mean, it's kind of silly, but especially with a growing league, like everything about the marketing of the WNBA this season should be talking about that. Like that should be a big milestone for the league and for women's sports. And I haven't seen a whole lot of it. Maybe as we get a little closer, but I think I would be seeing that in everywhere. 30, that should be on there. That should maybe be a patch on all the uniforms. But anyway, that's a topic for another day. I'll digress. I'll get into the marketing weeds, and no one wants to hear that. So we haven't had those discussions yet with the WNBA board. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said, you know what, I'm just going to play that for you because we've got this down here. Let me see. Can I just play it right here?
Do you anticipate Cathy Engelbert to remain the WNBA commissioner beyond the 2026 season?
You know, we haven't had those discussions yet. You know, with the WNBA board, I would only say Cathy's done a fantastic job, you know, since she's come to the WNBA. I mean, obviously you could see just in the results, but I haven't had those discussions recently with Cathy, and even in terms of her future plans and how long she wants to do this. She had a storied career before she came to the WNBA as the CEO, you know, of Deloitte. But I'd only say the results speak for themselves, you know, and I'm very happy, and I know the ownership is very happy with where things stand in the WNBA.
Now look, Adam Silver's been around a while. He's kind of like, I say, the type of stuff that I'm sorry, I'm at a table that's a little wonky. I almost keep knocking the camera over. Anyway, Adam Silver's been a while. He understands how to speak in a way that I keep saying the players need to learn. But this, for those of us that have been around a while, when you listen to something like this is an okay? This is a Cathy Engelbert's future as WNBA commissioner might be in doubt. Now, when you think back, and well, let me get into the whys and so forth of this. He could have easily said, he could have skipped a lot of that, just said, yeah, hey, you know what? Cathy's done a great job. She came in at a very, very challenging time in the league. She's navigated it through some difficult waters. She's negotiated 2 CBAs, both of which greatly advanced player salaries, and the last CBA, not enough people talk about this. We had this season being the first time it was paid out. The last CBA, despite all the lies and misinformation from players and media, had revenue sharing in it. That was historic. That was Cathy Engelbert and the first CBA that she negotiated. So Adam should have easily said, hey, you know what? Cathy has done a fantastic job. 2019, she came in a challenging time, has navigated us through some tough waters with with what went on in 2020, and then with the Cathy, the Caitlin Clark situation, the explosive growth, 2 CBAs. I have not had a conversation with Cathy about what she sees with her future, how long she wants to stay on as WNBA commissioner as a standard. That's a conversation I'm going to have with her. We, as myself, the owners, we are thrilled with everything that Cathy's accomplished. So it's really in Cathy's the ball's in Cathy's court, so to speak, in terms of what she wants to do. And that's a question, that we'll have to ask her, and a conversation we'll have to have. Like, he could have ignored all of the, shall we say, red flags you would get in terms of whether or not they actually want her back. Now, what's really wild this for me is I think Adam Silver has been an absolute disaster. I think David Stern was one of the greatest sports commissioners ever in the history of sports with what he did with the NBA, and he handpicked Adam Silver, and I think it was by far the biggest mistake David Stern made as commissioner was picking his successor, Adam Silver, who has been an absolute disaster for the NBA. So it's actually kind of wild to think about the amount of influence, I guess, because I don't think it's so weird with the NBA owning the WNBA for the most part. I'm not sure exactly how much power Adam Silver has. I don't think he can just fire Cathy Engelbert on his own, but obviously he has a lot of influence, which is kind of wild because he has been an absolute train wreck himself with the NBA. He's destroying the NBA. I think this is, I believe, for next season. I don't recall this ever happening, since the explosive growth and the media rights deals and TV contracts with like Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, and getting into salary caps and all that. They've all skyrocketed tremendously, right? I believe next year the NBA salary cap is actually going to be reduced by $1 million. Never, ever happened before in sports. That's the influence of Adam Silver. The amount of people watching it compared to when David Stern was commissioner it's not good. I mean, Adam Silver has led the NBA in the absolute wrong direction. The product's terrible. People don't want to watch it. And so it's kind of wild that he's got so much power and influence in determining the WNBA commissioner when he himself is an absolute disaster and should not be where he is. But just to be fair to Cathy, I want to talk about just a couple of teams. She's been around since 2019. She hasn't been there that long. Again, she negotiated 2 CBAs now, both historic. Massive increases in player salary on both. Revenue sharing for the first time ever on the last one, and now an increase on this one, and also the first time built on just total revenue for the league. 6 new franchises through league expansion, regardless of whether you think that's right or wrong. Personally, I think they should be reducing the number of teams to about 6, elevate the product, and then slowly expand from there. I think that would be the way to do it. Franchise valuations obviously are skyrocketing. Attendance is skyrocketing. Viewership. Now, I know a lot of that's Caitlin Clark as well, but to be fair, Cathy Engelbert is the commissioner. She's the one leading this sort of thing. So, she's actually gotten a lot of credit for stabilizing the league. As we know, it's been an absolute disaster since it started, stabilizing it, helping it to grow, and so forth. So she has done actually a lot for the league, believe it or not. She's done a lot of, do I see a lot of things from Cathy Engelbert and be like, yeah, you know what, she's kind of got to go? Yeah, absolutely. But I just want to be fair here that we have to look at the whole picture in terms of what has happened with the WNBA with Cathy Engelbert. Obviously she faced unprecedented situation in 2020 and has had to help the league navigate through that and back from it as well. But yeah, she's got a ton of criticism. Obviously the players are going to be very critical. Not so much in a league like the NBA or the NFL when their salaries just keep skyrocketing and skyrocketing. But yeah, so it's kind of wild for Adam Silver of all people to be talking about this. But and it's interesting too because in these situations, like another one who's kind of been on the hot seat despite the incredible growth of the NFL is Roger Goodell's made a lot of missteps, but it's an owner vote, and I don't remember off the top of my head the breakdown in terms of having to replace a commissioner, but that's the other thing too, and same with the WNBA and all these. The commissioner works for the owners, not the players. Now you could get into, well, how much does, player dissatisfaction play into whether or not the owners want to replace a commissioner because ultimately the players are the product on the court, especially when you're talking about the NBA and the NFL and so forth. I don't know if it does much of a thing in the WNBA, but yeah, commissioner, so Nafisa Collier being critical, and the commissioner is an employee basically of the owners, not the players. So there's always going to be natural friction there between the players when they believe they're not getting what they deserve, and the commissioner. That's just a simple reality of it. But I just thought this was really interesting. I wanted to talk about it because Cathy Engelbert's been a lightning rod. We all know that. Most of us are really not too familiar with her outside of when Caitlin Clark came in the league. So that was probably unfair when you look at the way the media has treated the Caitlin Clark situation and all the players have treated Caitlin Clark's situation, and even owners like y'all not like us, Ray Montgomery and what's her face at the Washington Mystics wanting the entire league on the cover of Time because of an award won by an individual, Caitlin Clark. That is, to be fair, a tough situation for Cathy Engelbert to be in, and that is our frame of reference in terms of judging how she is done. So anyway, let me know your thoughts. Also, let me know, what do you think? And give it odds, 50-50, 70-30, 30-70, in terms of whether or not you think Cathy Engelbert is going to be around. Obviously, she's going to be around for this season. Is she going to be around for the next season? Let me know in the comments. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to you all later.